Alright, what's going on everybody, it's Liam here, and welcome to today's video. In today's video, I have a commentary for y'all, and we're going to be talking about my level 160 expectations in both PvE and PvP in this video. Now, I'm going to try to be as positive as possible in a video like this. I might come off a bit negative, but that's not really the case. I'm trying to be, constructive with the criticism here. And yeah, I think the first thing we're going to dive into right away is probably the PvE experience. So as we all know that the new world is going to be called Novus, I believe. There's, leaks out there of what it looks like and stuff like that. And it looks pretty wild and crazy in my opinion. Now, I really hope that King's Isle can almost replicate the success that Lemuria had. I had kind of like low expectations going into Lemuria, but they absolutely hit the ball out of the park with this one. We got a new shad here, right? Whether your shad is good or not, that's debatable. Like Dark and Stormy versus Grim Reader or Barbarian Saga, for example. The setting as well is really cool. I like the new models here of the koalas. I don't know what these things are called. Lemurians. I don't know, man. Okay, don't judge me. Then I love the music as well. I thought they just did a great job on the art team. The story was pretty good. The heroes were pretty good as well. Again, the music and obviously the new shads. Only about half of the shads are actually usable in both PvE and PvP, unfortunately. So I guess one criticism would be make the shads better or maybe audit them, I guess, for 160. And besides that, Lemuria was a great world, and I really hope they can replicate its success and take away what players like from Lemuria and put that into Novus. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to seeing if they can, hit another home run with Novus. Now, another thing I have on my mind for the PvE experience is going to actually be bringing up pets. Now, you're probably like, wow, Liam, I didn't expect you to bring this up. But nah, bro, we're thinking outside the box in today's video, okay, guys? So basically, what I would like to see with pets is I would like them to change up a bit, because I feel like the pet meta has been kind of stale for a while now. When Lemuria dropped, some schools have to run sniper with certain builds, which is cool and stuff like that. But I'm talking about like a pet meta. Like, I don't know, what if they make sniper better for one season, like 12 instead of 9? Or, I don't know, Ice's dealer is weaker than, like, Fire's dealer, or, Storm's dealer, or Proof and Defy are better for, like, Ice than it is for Storm, right? Stuff like that. Also, I really like to see, like, useless talents like Armor Piercer be buffed. So, for example, Breaker, right? If you get Breaker with Mighty, you actually get an extra Pierce, right? So, if you get Piercer, right, at that point, you're just getting one more Pierce as a talent, and at that point, you might as well get a Giver, right? So I'd like to see a bit more of a shakeup in terms of, school identity, pet talents as well, right? Buffing up the weaker talents like Piercer, maybe make Piercer actually get affected by Mighty, so I can get 4 Breaker and 3 Piercer. See that maybe creep into the meta would be really cool, and more diversity in pets, obviously. And another minor note, I guess this is kind of tying into PvP, but maybe like a season or something without ward or something, or like an audit to ward could be cool as well. Personally, I'm not a guy who words. I just don't really believe in it. I'm not really trying to hate on anybody who does here, okay? I'm just saying I would like to see some more changes in the meta when it comes to pets and, what each talent is for each school, essentially. Now, my last thing I want to bring up well, I guess I have 2 things. The important thing I want to bring up for PvE is I would really like to see a Shadow Enhanced hit be used for utility, right? Now, I've brought this up in the past here on the channel, but basically every Shadow hit right now is pretty much used for damage, like, Freeze Ray, Shatterhorn, A-Bomb. They're just used because they do a lot of damage, right? But what I would like to see is maybe let's say, Freeze Ray, right? If I had Freeze Ray, it would give me, like, I don't know, 200 damage to break a shield, but then it would set up my Gambit very rapidly. So I'm talking, like, let's say it does little to no damage for like 5 pips, right? But it puts 3 random shields on me to set up my Ice Scion, right? So instead of players always going in like the damage path with Shadow Enhanced hits, maybe they could go more towards using Shads for utility to set up a bigger Gambit as well. Again, that's kind of more like PvP, but they could obviously make the Gambits usable in PvE, right? Kind of like how they are in the raid right now. I'd really like to see that, and I think it would be good for both the PvE strategies and also more diverse play in PvP. And the last thing I'm going to bring up, because I hear it a lot in the community, is mount/pet stitching. Now, pets, I'm kind of torn between this one, okay? Because, for example, I like this cute little marshmallow pet I have. I like the talents on it, right? But sometimes I wish my marshmallow could keep the set bonus it has, but I wish it looked like the ice blimp, for example, right? Or I wish I had bubbles on my marshmallow pet. Now, typically, you'd think there's no harm in this, right? But, for example, in PvP, right? In PvP, if you see somebody with a blimp pet, you know that they have bubble, and you're probably not going to bubble a lot against that player because they're going to have a lot more bubbles than you, right? So this would extremely be, you know, extremely harmful for PvP, in my opinion. But for PvE, I don't see any problems with pet stitching, right? I know another one is like the Frilosaur. You know, if I could have the Frilosaur stats and the set bonus, but on like the marshmallow, so it looks, you know, cute or something, or a gummy bear, I don't know. That could be really neat. Mount stitching, though, I think is the bigger one. There's no harm for this in PvP or PvE, to my knowledge. Obviously, let's say I wanted to see, like, my friend, let's just say I wanted to see, Jordan's mount here, right? Let's say he has the Clockwork Courser stitched into the Sweet Ride, right? So I could click on him, and then, like, click on his mount, like a pet, and it could divide it, like, how does it do that here? Give me a second. It divides it like this, right? Here, see, like, okay, Clockwork Courser, where to get that? Sweet Ride, where to get that, right? I think that'd be really cool, because players, you're still giving them information, and it's not like PvP where you need that information. There's just really no harm to it in PvE, in my opinion, and I know a lot of players would like that, including me. For example, again, the Frilosaur, or the Death Gulcher, or any Gulcher, specifically. I hate how ugly the Gulcher is, in my opinion. I wish I could stitch that into my Skates, or a Bone Dragon, or something like that, or like a Cloud. You know, maybe like the little coconut mount as well. That stuff, I think that would be more beneficial to the game than it would be harming the game, in my opinion. But that's all the PvE stuff I have, guys. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. We're gonna get into the PvP section. Now, getting into the meat and potatoes of the video here, PvP, right? Now, a lot of the stuff is gonna be pretty opinionated, but, you know, obviously it's my channel. So, first thing I want to see, again, better gear. For some reason, King's Isle is just keen on every time they come out with a new gear template or something, it's always better for the defensive schools. And aside from maybe the raid gear, you could argue a couple of the pieces there, it's just really bad for the offensive schools, right? You have problems like a life having more damage, more resist with the same pierce as a storm, right? But they have utility and like 3,000 more health, right? You have issues like that, you know? Or you have issues where ice gets so much resist to the point they can just completely ignore like an entire buff, right? I know today I played a lot on my ice. I ranked them up a little bit, you know, halfway to captain so far. And I ate 3 Rusalkas. A Rusalka for 1800, a Rusalka for 2.2, and a Rusalka for 2.5. All open, no debuffs, right? That's just pitiful damage. And then my Shadowhorn does 1600. Like, excuse me? Like, that's supposed to scale. That is supposed to scale, bro. Like, I don't know. I think the gear is just too much in the defensive school's favor. And we've been in this meta for so long. since the start of 5th age. It's starting to like wear me out almost. It's so annoying how the offensive schools are just worse. Now I'm not saying you can't play good on a Storm or a Fire or Myth. I think a lot of people think, you know, I'm of that opinion. You can play good and win on those schools, right? Anybody can, right? But the problem is at the higher levels of play, the stat difference really starts to show. For example, the school I talk about a lot here on the channel is Storm. Yes, if you're a very good Storm player, you can beat almost every matchup, technically if you don't get screwed over by RNG and if you play well. But once you get to the higher ranks, the stat difference is just too much, right? You look at Ice, right? You look at Ice's Highland robe, or that new robe from the pack. It's literally a better motorist robe, but they just get 22 damage slapped on there, essentially, with critical and like accuracy. It just doesn't make any sense, right? And the problem here is, like, objectively for the devs watching, is Myth, Fire, and Storm are still behind on the, like, they don't have any good gear for 150. You guys haven't given them like a good option like Ice Highland or Life Highland or, you know, Death Merciless or anything like that. There's no good options to upgrade to for 150 or 160 so far at King's Hall. So they're stuck 10 levels behind, and they're losing on a lot of that offensive pressure you guys think they have in the meta right now, right? Fire can only win with Trap Stack, and Storm can only win if they get extremely lucky and they play well, typically, right? Myth, on the other hand, is a bit different because Myth actually has utility. Myth is like Myth is kind of like balance in a way, right? It's good damage, but it also has a lot of good utility. So Myth isn't really affected as much by it. That's why you see it higher up in the leaderboard. Plus all the troll spammers. Rest in peace, troll, by the way. But yeah, I'm tired of the meta where it's just defensive schools are just better all the time because the gear and the utility is just so overtuned, right? I'm so tired of it. I really want to see a shake up in the meta for 160, and yeah, that's really all I have to say about the gear. Next up, I would like to see some changes to maybe the elo system. Now, I know we hop between you can play anybody and people within your rank. I don't mind the playing everybody personally, but what I will say is it's really hard to rank up still. Like one bad game can cost you like 6 games or something at the higher level of play, right? For example, I think my Storm was 1800 the other day, but then I got a stream sniper who was corporal or sergeant, right? And I just lose like 30 rank, which is like 4 or 5 games worth of my time, right? Doesn't feel very good, right? Now, there's 2 ways they could go about that. A, they could actually punish people who want to like Jade and cheat, but I really highly doubt that with, you know, King's Hall staff management right now. I don't think they really care about people cheating in PvP very much. Or B, right, you could obviously put a hard cap on how much you can lose or how much you can gain within certain ranks. Now, let's say I'm 1900 right now, right? I can lose a maximum of 15 rank no matter who I play, whether it's freaking, you know, a Warlord, a 0 rank recruit, you know. But if I go down to Knight, for example, I might only lose 10 or something like that. Or you could do it the completely other way around. Like, have a cap and a maximum you can get from each rank, I feel like, and have that vary a tad bit. I think that's better, because I've seen players gain like 1 or 2 rank, and then, you know, if you play a really good player next game, right, you lose like 4 games worth of work, and it's just a really shitty feeling, especially if you get somebody cheating, which is, you know, sniping or exploiting in this case. Then for cards, there's a couple of things that I will be nitpicking right here. You know, why is Headless Horseman doing more than Splash Squatch when Myth is a hitting school and Death isn't? I don't know if I missed a King's Hall Live where they announced, hey everybody, we're making Death Storm 2.0, we're making a hitting school with Myth, Fire, and Storm. I don't know if I missed that, guys. You could let me know in the comments, but I don't know why Death is, you know, getting so many good cards with having literally insane stats, right? Like, you see Death with 1 55 damage and literally 50 pierce while keeping 53 resist, 600 crit, and like 550 block. Like, it's literally mental. And then on top of all that, you have utility and you have drains, right? Now, I'm not trying to hate on death, right? My death is like 27-3 right now. I've only lost once to a non-sniper. I'm not hating on death. It's a good school, right? But the point here is to illustrate how overtuned utility is and how stats are overtuned, right? Now, we just talked about stats. We're kind of getting back into that with utility. But the point is, right, when you give Ice, for example, 150 damage with, you know, 70 resist. I'm missing a piece of gear right now, but like 148 damage with 70 resist essentially. When resist is incredibly powerful, you're gonna have a problem with the scaling, right? And again, that's not to mention like, you know, A-bomb being, you know, so much proportionally. Like, for example, I tested an A-bomb versus a Rasolka, and I think it was a 2% difference, but is that 2% difference worth a whole turn of tempo of a -50 shield for one less pip? Right? I don't know, man. I don't like it, and I hope something changes. But, yeah, I don't know. I think I've said everything I need to say here. I don't really want to go on very much longer. Oh, I guess another thing I could put in is, I guess for something, you know, like healing, I'd like to see more counterplay to healing as well. Like more, you know, hit and infections maybe that are not maybe exclusive to death would be pretty cool. And obviously some drain counterplay as well, because death is pretty good in the meta right now. But I think that's everything I gotta say, guys. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments below. Obviously, highly opinionated. I'm really curious to see what you guys gotta say down there. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching this far, and as always, take care, guys.